green can be also a completely different word, that has nothing to do with this, since I'm not colorblind. And, but I mean, it still is green. It's just a slight difference, right? But no, there could be another word for it. And it could be something that we don't have if we only speak about shit. And then people that are colorblind and can't see green would have another word for it. But they wouldn't be able to see the difference that I see, but they would see my opinion and how different it would be. But they would see the opposite of the non-color that wasn't there, which would be a color. So that is a color, and it can be not this, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it can be not green, you know, and it's, but anyway, we cover a lot of information, and when we have this, we realize that, let's just say this is the spectrum, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 is heat, because that's what everything senses, because there's heat, in order for there to be something sensed, you could just say feet, it would be more sensible. Feet, but anyway, heat is more like it, but it has to do with the pressure, and sensing what is there. I mean, if you're a plant, you're feeling shit fucking you all day, touching you like that, and that's what it feels like. A plant feels the sun touching it, and I mean literally pushing on it like that, You just imagine somebody sitting there pushing on you, constantly. And that's what it feels like, but see, that's how all of this shit could feel like if we could really step back and get more pleasure from it, because all of these are different ways to look at shit. And see, I'm looking at eyes right now that can fuck the world. And I'm realizing that these are not just colors and just definitions that some other person who is not even present would be observing, and that I'm not observing, just so I can be correct and be in a chronological manner, which is 1, 2, 3, and 4, and, skips, all of those, I mean, if there's a person here, I would be skipped, and, I just don't see how, this is going to be a continuation, and then there's 5, and then, these can't see shit, and that can't see shit, and then, I mean, it's just the person who is here, theoretically and learn, would probably not be me if I'm being corrected. Corrected, and that would not be right, you know what I mean? Because someone else would be watching me, and I'd have to be able to distinguish something different, because it'd have to be my preference, um, but yeah, anyway, so, yeah, so one thing I'm realizing is that I can't really, I mean, so this is basically what we all see, is heat or the touch, and it's fucking us. I mean, I'm kind of gonna just, I mean, this is really, really, really fun, to see. But we have over here basically some ass in jeans, and I mean, that is what that is. That is a straight up ass in some fucking jeans busting out of some fucking jeans. And that's what that is. That's what it's been. That's why there is jeans. That's why that shit has 3 holes and it knows how to use them. And it knows how to receive, That's why it has 6 sex. It knows how to open and close that shit. And definitely make that shit bust ass. And it has to. and it has 12 different receptors, and we only have 4, so it can pick how it sees its colors already. And it's a fucking praying mantis, but it's not a praying mantis, it's just a mantis, shrimp. And shrimps kind of quench up, so usually when people nut, they kind of like, they kind of quench up, and that's because, shrimp is a word that has to do with that. And that ass just busted out a little bit more so I can fucking think and focus a little bit less. Actually, a little bit more, probably. And then another thing I was looking at, dogs and all that have the same shit, but I mean, they all have the pressure that's done, and, people and dogs aren't really that different. We also have the fact that the sun, and when we have our eyes closed, all we see is red, because it's blood. It's our fucking blood, and someone can't see motherfucking blood. When I close my eyes, I see blood, I see red. But they see just blue and yellow, and that is because you're looking at water, which is, urine and water, or cum. And see, the reason for this is that if you get rid of the water, when you get rid of the urine, you have pressure, which creates the cum, which is excrement. That feels good, that comes out. Even though urine does feel good, and water is blue, and urine is yellow, all we're looking for is the cum part of our life. Saliva is white, and it does feel that good, especially when you have them both synchronized, which I've been doing now. Nobody's ever done that, really. I've never seen anyone ever do that, really. And that's pretty fucking good. Pretty fucking shitty to me. I want to figure out all this shit. But see, they can't see red, but they're just seeing the cum part, because, I mean, it relates, it's white. Urine and water could be focused on, but, I mean, all they're going to be able to do is focus on what's coming at, That's why we have black and white, which is like, the separation of white and black, and just movement is more important there. But it's definitely not color. I think Mickey Mouse is offended by having to have, colors, because Mickey Mouse was cool and jumpy and having fun and fucking the world and shit, and then all of a sudden he's just some plastic piece of shit that is just some angry bitch that is made of plastic now, instead of looking like he's made of sausage or, whatever he wants to be. But, it's just not right that, 1930 Mickey Mouse is not always 1930 Mickey Mouse, because he's fucking cool and he's animated. And that kind of helps you understand that. But see, the reason that we can't see red but someone else can is that they can't see what I just said. So I could say, man, that red sock, man, that shit was amazing. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? This shit is green. And then you're like, what the fuck? And the thing is that people have to separate that shit. People have to be wary of that. And people that have these colors need to be aware of these colors and use them accordingly. Invisible colors. That's invisible colors. That's shit that you don't understand but do. And you'd have to ask someone what the colors are. And you could either, if you can only see certain colors, you need to just be the one who is aware of that. And it needs to be your intense weakness. It needs to be your actual, when someone says, I'm wearing, I've seen my cousins wearing, a black, they'll wear a brown, green and brown shirt, and it looks like it doesn't match and shit. And then my aunt is gonna be standing there. She's like, oh, that's okay, he's colorblind. I just tell him what he likes and everything. And it really pissed me off that he has brown and green in his shirt, and it has like mushrooms and Mario and shit. Or just some kind of band, or just all this goofy, loopy, tacky looking shit, that is completely offensive to him, because you know, he's supposed to be, I mean, not that it's any of my fucking business, and, I shouldn't even have to care about that, because, I'm learning, but it's just that, if you can't see a color, then what do? I mean, what the fuck would I do if I can't sense something, but I need someone else to tell me what I can see and what I can't? That's just fucked up, but it's not. So what you can do is you can have activism in what you do. When you have colors like that, people don't give a fuck about it. Dogs, for example, they understand this shit perfectly. But what we're not getting is the fucking element. And see, that's what we need to live. You can't talk about food when you can have one piece of floss with just one piece of food on it, and that's your body, and that's what we're looking at today, and just one little piece of food, and someone says food and then goes and gets that. That's when, you have some food sitting out and then your dog comes up and eats the food. And that's fucking, because there's, shit that you should have said about some shit that actually is there. Because, I mean, if the color is not important, I mean, I can see in fucking black and white, and I know what a fucking nice shirt looks like, because I know the difference in the fucking colors. And if I don't know the difference, then I can say, well, all I'm going to wear is blue and yellow. Or I could say, all I want to do is just not have blue and yellow, and let me just wear this red shit, because I can't see it, and it's invisible. So how would that help? Someone would have to be able to determine what that would do, and sensory, and see, but that gives us more data, and we know that, the sun, is, a color. And we know that animals focus on, only the energies that happen. The thing that was interesting is that the no green and no red looks like blue and yellow on both of them. Also, we realized that watermelon, if split in half verbally, has red and green in it. And if it was split perfectly in half with a syllable, that was a perfect round ball. You would also realize that the syllable split as a watermelon is unappetizing as shit. It's like, to me, it's just like fucking a black guy, man. I mean, I just think it's disgusting. And it's just because I don't like those colors with that strong prominence. And someone who can't see that shit would have to consult me in order to figure that out, and they'd have to figure out a way to figure that shit out. And they would know what that shit would be. And also, so we have red and blue out of the way, just don't like fucking watermelon, and what this did for me. And it probably is a personal issue. People with that shit, it could be something that could push you away further from that person. That means you have more sunlight because you have more person pushing against you. Because now they don't fuck with you now. That is kind of the point. Or do more from a distance, if that's the case. And then, we also have the people that just see blue and red. And this is something I'm really familiar with, because when I close my eyes, I always see red and blue. Because, red becomes blue. And this is like the black, and this is like the white for me. When I create I can see with my eyes closed. What I used to do was just sit there and I just push against my eyeballs all fucking day. This person, would definitely know how to do something, just like how I knew how to push mine. It's probably doing something else in there besides pushing theirs. And, there's a lot to figure out. It's just one small aspect of what we're doing, of what's there. And But see, that invisibility, is not just invisible, because see, you also have people inside of you that can see. People that you refer to when you're blind is a good example, because that pressure of voice and silence, when someone doesn't talk, they're pushing against you, and see, when somebody is like loud, they're pushing against you, depending on which one feels better, and and that's all when like someone looks away fast or someone stares at you for a long time. Plants stare at you constantly, and are stared at constantly. And that's why they have those holes that come out. And then you have like, some old neighbor, jacking off and staring at you if you don't pay attention to it for a long time and just censored stuff or something. You look at a plant, it is staring at you. It plans to make shit fall. Just like when I went outside earlier and I had a fucking couple of leaves fall. I was thinking about some important shit, having a cigarette and some leaves fell. You think that shit's not cool? And so yeah, and then we're gonna continue, and it's just about how, here's some more shit that's important, and it's squirting, because clams can see shit, but they also squirt, and see, when you get near them, they start squirting, and that explains everything about vision. Because when something's near, look at all the shit that's popping off. It understands how shit works. And without the person that can't see, they wouldn't have someone who can't see that color. It can just talk about it, and be like, man, my favorite thing's this. I know everything about this. And you'd be like, well, I don't know about this shit. So he has something to say. That's part of the populace. That's so somebody can talk about some shit and fucking squirt, fucking relate when everybody starts squirting, and, maybe not squirt at that time or whatever, but it's just a little bit different. And, here's some even more shit for you to understand. And it's just this, we have this damn clam and shit. Wait. No, it's the giant clam, and it has like 100,000 eyeballs, and it fucks at the same time, because it's a huge giant pussy that's shaped like an earthquake. And see how that thing's shaped? We have triangles that go like this, like we're like this, and then we have angles that shoot out like that, And see, they have, perfect little things that go around it like that are actually accenting those, when we do that with them, when we're looking at it and calculating it and shit. And they have, it's not an earthquake, but they have all these little eyes in their pussy lips. And, vagina lip. And, you can also tell that, they have a big giant pussy in there that just opens up, and, it's just like having two eyes. It's just like having like that, it's just like, and see, that pushes that pressure from this eye to this one, and then pushes it back into this one. This one's bigger, and now it's smaller, And you can tell if you had, 1,000 eyes, and they can all see they can see all of these different kinds of colors. They can see, one different kind of color. You know what I'm saying? And they can, because they can see, if I'm looking at this green sock, that pussy, can see that it's a red sock or a blue sock. And that's part of us already, because it's just meant for us to understand, but also that it can choose which ones it sees at different times. It can shut different eyes to look at different shit at different times. It can choose how it sees the shit, But I'm sure there's a lot of limits too. But I mean, if you had that many eyes, and each one of those was somebody's head, and each one of those was somebody's eyes, and ass, and those vaginas with the clams, with the pants sticking out, with just ass. You know what I'm saying? Just big ass ripping through some jeans. You know, you can definitely tell that, you know, that's what they've been looking at. I mean, they can see shit. Seeing shit. And, you know, I mean, they do. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, so that's just important. And that's just something for you to understand is that in order for them to close one eye, they have to document that time. You know, and in order for them to, you know, look at it again, they have to get an orgasm and have to squirt because they are now recognized and there's some movement. So then they know, you know, that something happened. You know, and then that squirt is information. But how is that small squirt not just an orgasm when, you know, it feels good and it's not going to hurt you? It tells you where the clam is. I mean, it's obviously not there to do anything else but get fucked. It's a clam that squirts when something's nearby. It's obviously a bunch of vaginas squirting and people's mouths and all kinds of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that just makes me pretty damn happy. And it gives us more information. I mean, that's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different kinds of information. And the cold information is not useful. I know that because I mean, I know you can probably sense it and shit, but I mean, there's nothing that is going to be there. It's something that is infinitely fucking cold and can't feel shit. And, you know, there's no space there. And heat is where the center is at. So there's no reason to actually want to be shivering that fucking much when you have sex. There's no reason to when you have a core that you can focus on. You know, it's not. That's what life went to. So there's no reason that we should be able to look at small particles and shit, you know, about shit and like residual memory shit about stuff that just is not gonna warm us and make our memories more comfortable because those clams won't be able to squirt. Because there won't be anything there to walk around the shit, and we'll just be still looking at Mars.